Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you on to the lecture number 12 for the course of Data and Computer Communication. My name is Engineer Jafar Ali and I'm an instructor for this course. So, this is our lecture number 12. Let's start with the recapitulation. In the previous class, we have discussed about these three main techniques in the random access protocol, and the first one was actually a CSMA, that is carrier sense multiplexers. The next one was CSMA slash CD, that carrier sense multiplexers with collision detection, and we learned how this algorithm or this protocol has been activated when you activate when there is a collision. And later on we discussed about CSMA slash CA, that is carrier sense multiplexers with collision avoidance, and we learned that how this protocol is being initiated before actually occurrence of collision, and it prevents the collision to be occurred. So keeping that in mind, we will discuss about three main protocols and some more topics, that is reservation, polling, and token passing in this class as well. So this is known as scheduling format, and instead of basically preventing that collision to be occur, you basically do a thing that is known as scheduling, so that to prevent the collision. So the first step for, or you can say the main approaches for that, is basically the first one is known as reservation, and the second one is polling, and the last one is token passing. And what is the benefit for this, and what are the cons for this? So this is mentioned over here. By scheduling, you can get more efficient channel utilization, because you can remove the randomness. You know that in the last topics we were discussing the random access protocols. You can see that these were random access protocols. So there was a factor for randomization, and you know that there was a back of time, which was a random period back of time, BO, and it was random. So to remove, and this back of randomness basically causes delay. So to provide much efficient method utilization, channel utilization, you can use this scheduling method, so it will eliminate this randomness. The next line basically is it will provide less variability in the delay, so it is much more good. And the next one is it can provide fairness to the stations. All the users and all the devices will be getting equal resources, instead of only one device that was there and it was tackling, or it was getting all of the resources. But it increased this scheduling can increase the computational complexity. So the only cost that you are going to pay is basically the complexity that is there because of the computations. So let's discuss the three main approaches, and after that we will discuss the channelization techniques. So the first reservation system is basically known as the scheduling system is known as reservation, and there are several options that are there for the reservation system. You can reserve, the system can be centralized, that it is basically controlled by a central controller, and the central controller or the coordinator will be there to arrange or information or decides order of the transmission and issue the grants of the channels to any user. Or it can be distributed. Each station determines its slot for a special transmission. This is from the reservation information. So instead of a central node or a coordinator, you can basically use a distributed system, and this based, and every station will be deciding its own time based upon the packages coming from the other system. You can also use this reserve framing for a single frame and multiple frame. If you are want to reserve the channel only for a single frame, you can do that as well. Or if you want to reserve a channel for multiple frames, you can do as well. So these are several options for the reservation of the frames. So how does this reservation system operates basically? So all the stations make explicit reservation to gain the access towards the channel transmission medium, or you can say the channel. Stations then takes turn transmitting a frame at full rate RBPS. Let's say R is the data rate, so RBPS will be the full rate of this. And this transmission is basically organized into cycles, and one cycle is known as a complete reservation interval frame transmission. So it reservation includes an interval plus frame transmission. So this is the whole concept of how this reservation actually works. The next technique is basically known as polling. This can also be for two of the types. The first one is known as centralized, the second one is known as distributed. So a central controller basically transmits polling messages to all the stations according to a certain order, and at response of that order, the request basically that message, this different stations transmit their own information about their on time, or you can say depending upon their schedule, they basically reserve the poll. They basically reserve their slots. So, and can also be done as the same mechanism will be also there for the distributed, but instead of a central device, this will be controlled using any other all of these other devices. And in this kind of polling mechanism, there is also a mechanism known as priority. So issue poll for stations with a message of K or higher priority. So you can also basically entertain priority mechanism, priority devices for there as well. The last mechanism is known as token passing. In this kind of reservation, or you can say scheduling techniques, is only the device with a specific token. Token is basically identity. So only a device with a token will be able to transmit, and all the devices that are not carrying any token will not be able to gain the channel or the transmission medium. So there is the need of a medium for any channel or for any device to access the channel. So this is known as this token passing. The next techniques that are mostly used nowadays are basically multiple access techniques. The first one is FDMA, the second one is TDMA, and the last one is CDMA. FDMA stands for frequency division multiple access, TDMA stands for time division multiple access, and CDMA stands for code division multiple access. So these three are basically main techniques for their multiple access method, in which available bandwidth of a link is shared in time. You can say this is known as time, or frequency, or through code. This will include both of these. So this is the combination for this. Let's discuss one by one. So in FDMA, the bandwidth is divided into sub-bands that are separated through guard bands. Now this is an optional thing. If you are putting guard bands, this is very good. If you are not putting it, you are doing something very wrong, and it will be causing you a lot of problem in the future. So let's say this is your whole frequency. This is your whole frequency, and you divide this frequency into sub bands. You see, and there you also allot some of the reserve guard band that will not be used for anything, but there it will be there just to make sure that these two frequencies does not overlap on each other. You can see that this blue, between this blue and this yellow, there is a small p. This was the blue, and you see that with among this, between this blue and this yellow, there is a small frequency that is not used, because this was used as a guard band. You can see that this is also there, this is also there, this is also there. This is green will be 3, and this will be 4. So one from this packet, from this user, one from this user, the third one from this user, and the fourth one was from this user. So taking different resources or from different users, you can basically, you are combining these 4 into a same channel, and you are transmitting this channel, and this channel frequency should be greater than the combined frequency of all these. This should be kept in mind, that the combined the channel bandwidth of the channel should be greater than the combined bandwidth of all the users. Let's talk about TDMA. TDMA is the same thing, but instead of dividing the frequency, now you are using the same frequency. All this frequency will be the same, but instead of dividing the uses among frequency, you are now dividing them into the time domains. So let's say from 0 to 5 seconds, there will be a time for, let's say the frequency is 1 kilohertz. So from 0 to 5 use 1 kilohertz. So from 0 to 5 seconds, user A will be transmitting, user 1 will be transmitting. From, let's say 7 to 12 second, let's say this is the period, and for this will be, let's say this will be, the user 2 will be transmitting. Similarly, let's say from 15 to 20, the third one will be transmitting, and from, let's say 22 to 27, the last one will be transmitting. So all are gaining 5 seconds of resources. But you see, I have also managed to insert some guard period among these. You can see that, let's highlight it with the black. You can see that the first one was ended from on 7, so it was needed to start from 5. So I basically put as gap from 5 to 7. I put a gap of 5 to 7, and I does not use it. It was basically a guard period. Similarly, it was ended on 12, and I started the next one from 15. So from 12 to 15, I also inserted a guard period in which no device was transmitting. And in the next one, from it was ended on 20. So the next time I started with 22 and ended on 27. So you see that I've basically placed from this 20 to 22. I've basically didn't use it because it was as a guard period, and this guard period is left for the future, because if let's say there is some kind of delay in the transmission, and the channels and this data is now gets slipped, so that it doesn't get involved with the next user of data of the user. So this is the method for preventing your data to be damaged. CDM is basically the same thing, but it combines all of the data with all of the frequencies for all of the frequencies all of time. So basically this is your data 1. So you basically combine this your data along with your code, and you indulge that code into a data. Similarly, you take your data from user 2 and you apply different code on it, and you indulge that too in that channel. Similarly, you get your data from user 3 and apply a different code on it. So keep in mind that the code should be different. The codes should be different for every user. The code should be excuse me, the code should be different. And for user 4, the data for that will be D4, and the code will be different, C4. So it will also be there. So all of these will combine in this channel. You see that D1 C1 plus D2 C2 plus D3 C3 and plus D4 C4. And the code for C1 will be, you see that now there is things of this, what will be the value of C1 or this C2 and C3 C4. So C1 will be let's say +1 +1 +1 +1. These are known as Walsh codes. We will be discussing that codes in the next semesters, inshallah. The generation of how this generation has been done. So for now, this is beyond of the scope of this course. So how this let's say this is basically C1, so the code will be different. You can see that there are now 2 plus and 2 minuses. The third one will be 2 pluses and 2 minuses, and the last one will be 2 pluses at the end and with 2 minuses in the center. So these is basically different codes generated for different users. And you know that if you have 4 bits of data, you can generate 2 power 4, that is 16 combinations. You can use 16 codes. You can have 16 codes. So it means in this scenario, if the code length of this C is 4, you can see this 1 2 3 4, So it means you are using 4 bits of data to for the code generation. So it means that you can have maximum 16 users in this kind of transmission. So there are 4 users, but you can have up to 16 users in this kind of transmission. So this is known as carrier this code division multiple access. Multiple users are now gaining access to the same common channel. You can see the common channel. Now the thing is, there are several mechanisms by which you can select any MAC protocol. But what are the features that you see when you select a protocol? So what are the deciding factors when you select a protocol? The things now are now combined together. So before selecting a specific MAC, you actually look for some of the things. The first one is known as application. By application, I mean which type of service you are trying to achieve from that MAC protocol. If you are, it depends on the traffic. So, if the traffic is high, you want to go with the voice stream, there should be another MAC. And if you want to do some web services or web pages surfing, or you can say short messages, there will be another MAC that would be a little more lighter, because you know that the more application you put on, the more data you put on that MAC, the heavier and the complex MAC will be required for that. So if you are using, it depends on the application to which they basically set on a particular MAC. The next thing that is there for any Mac to be selected is basically the scale, that how much the traffic can this Mac carry. If the traffic is too much high on that Mac, should be your Mac should be in such a way, designed in such a way so that it can basically observe and it can absorb that traffic, and it can support that many of users. So the scale is also a very important key feature before selecting any specific Mac. And in the last but not least, there are several other factors that are also there, and depending upon these factors, you actually select a Mac. So the first one is basically known as delay bandwidth product. And now, what is delay bandwidth product? Delay bandwidth product is a measurement of how many bits can fill up to a network link. It will give you the maximum amount of data that can be transmitted by a sender at a given time. You can see that only a given time how much traffic can be generated by a single specific user or device before waiting for acknowledgement. So this is the maximum amount of data that is sent, and this data has not been acknowledged. So this is the maximum amount of unacknowledged data. You can also say that in other words. The next thing is throughput efficiency, and now this throughput efficiency is how much data is being delivered, amount of that data that was from that unacknowledged data, how much data is actually received by the receiver end. So that is known as a throughput efficiency, and the higher efficiency means a higher quality Mac, and a higher quality Mac means a expensive one or a complex. If it is not expensive, it must be very complex. The next one is reliability, fairness. So we have also discussed that fairness is a very key feature. Mac should not be designed in such a way so that it can only compensate one user or specific users. It should be designed in such a way so that it can provide its services to all the users without any conflict. So fairness should be something that you need to be care about. The next one is reliability, and reliability is basically the failure robustness when the failures occur. So if there is some failure occurred in the any of the protocol, so the system or the Mac should be robust in such a way so that it can cover up that error or that fault, and it does not put any harm on the transmission or the network. The next one is the capability to carry different types of traffic. I have also told you there are several types of traffic, and depending upon that types, you can actually decide a Mac. So, if a Mac is capable of handling, let's say, audio, video, images, and live call as well, live calling as well. So that Mac would be a bit of complex as compared to a normal Mac of that application, as such application in which there is only audio or there is only text. So the last one basically is nothing but the cost. So cost is another important feature. You know that the higher you go on the complexity level or the servicing level, you basically pay the cost. So you also take care of the cost as well. So this is the end of the lecture. This is also the recap. In the previous lectures we have done about the CSMA, CSMA CD and CSMA CA, and also the numericals of it as well. And in today's class we basically started with the scheduling of the scheduling Mac. How do you schedule a Mac? Scheduling a Mac. And we learned about three of the main techniques. The first one was reservation. Let me write it down. The first one was reservation. It is not included here. And there are four types of that: centralized, and distributed, as well as the single frame and multiple frame. The second one was polling, and the last one was token passing. The third one was token passing. After that we did three channelization techniques. The first one was TDMA, that's known as time division multiplexes, then FDMA, frequency division multiplexes, and in the end we did CDMA, that is code division multiplexes. So this was all about today's lecture. I hope that you have learned quite a lot. If you have any questions regarding the lecture, you can ask me in the class, and if you are not able to attend the class because of any reason, you can email me. You have my email address, or you can put forward your questions on the portal as well. I'll see you in the class. I hope that you bring some good questions, because you know that the more you ask, the more you learn. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.